So can you tell us a little bit about the genesis of the show?
Yeah. I about 8 years ago or so, I wrote a little indie comedy drama coming of age story about a kid who goes on vacation with his parents to a resort, and while there, he kind of develops this kind of unlikely friendship with an older couple who's there celebrating their 10-year anniversary, and it wasn't very good. It didn't work, and so I threw it away into my desktop on my computer. But every year I would kind of go back to it and try to like revive it in some kind of way, because I was really into the core idea of like a couple who's going to hit this lull in their marriage that are trying to recapture their youth through another person, through a friendship with a younger guy, and then over the years and after many failed attempts at doing that, I finally like realized I was not only looking at the script itself through this kind of nostalgic lens, but also like who I was at the time, like writing it through this nostalgic lens. That I didn't understand myself at the time until I was like, 8 years older. And so in that I realized like, oh, that's also kind of what the married couple are doing as well. So I just kind of split them apart over time. And the couple in that original script was Emma and Noah, and then Sam was Sam and Violet are the two kids who go missing in the past, and so it became this story of two kids go missing, couple in the present want to find out the answer to what happened to them, but also like how still that same core idea of like trying to find the answer of like how they got here to this point in their lives, in their marriage. And then on that, I just threw in all of my favorite, I wear my influences on my sleeve a lot, and so like you look at my Letterboxd account or my Blu-ray collection, you can probably feel the influence of those movies in this, because that's also tied into this like idea of nostalgia and wanted to recapture a thing from your past that you maybe cannot recapture, but you still want to go there because that's where the warm fuzzy feelings are, and the warm fuzzy feelings are also in the movies you watch when you were younger too. So that's a rambling answer. I apologize. So.
No, not at all.
I would say we're talking to the cast, saying like there's a lot of mystery and levels to it. Did you kind of look at it through a way of like true crime, and trying like to look at the story as a whole, or trying like to break it down and see like where you can make it like intrigue, or trying to figure out like what kind of like clues you can give the viewer as we go?
Yeah, I mean from the beginning, like when I first kind of cracked like the whole story a few years ago, the ending was very clear to me, like what happens, like the answer to everything. And so kind of working backwards from that point, like how to kind of parse out the mystery, it's a very tough thing to do, obviously, but like knowing that was like what I was trying to hit by the end, I also didn't want to like kind of betray these emotional journeys of these characters too. So like along the way, I kind of like almost like let the characters kind of lead the way, and then within that, the clues and stuff kind of almost come like organically. But I definitely feel like it's a show that is if you just want to like turn TV on for a half hour after a long day of work and don't want to think too hard about anything, like the show should be able to stand on its own like that. But also, if you want to like look at the clues, and it's everything from like some throwaway line or a prop or a music cue, anything like that like there are clues kind of in there throughout, or little like subtle hints of things in there throughout, if you want to like, if that's the kind of viewer you are, or viewing experience you want. Because I think that's how I was when I was in my 20s, and now I fall asleep after I put the kids to bed, so I need something I can just like kind of that keeps me awake for 30 minutes. So I'm also trying to go for both those audiences. But yeah, I don't know if that answers the question really, but kind of. I don't know.
Is it hard for you to keep track of?
Oh yeah.
From beginning to end, you just said you knew what the ending was, but all the intricacies that went into it. So how did you manage to keep track of it all?
It was just very hard. It's it's knowing what the end is, and knowing like these kind of guideposts along the way. That's the most helpful thing, because I tend to meander a lot, and we had like an incredible writers' room last year that saw my meandering, which would take us really like to strange places, and then I'd have to like, nope, we had to get all the way back over here. Yeah, it's tough.
What can you tell us about the casting process?
Well, I first talked to Kristen about this when we were filming Palm Springs, and I said that if someday anyone lets me make this ridiculous show, I'm gonna call you up. And she's like, yeah, do it. And then 3 years later, Peacock says, I want to make this ridiculous show, and I called her up, and she said, I want to do it. And then Ben Sinclair, who's the director of the first 4 episodes, created High Maintenance, and he had worked with Will years before on High Maintenance, and I loved Will from Good Place and Midsummer, and so like we met with Will. He was the first person we met with, and it was like out of that conversation, I immediately like went back to the script and started writing it for him. This is before he even agreed to do it, but I just like he inspired me to even go deeper, and I felt like he was the missing piece to bring that character so much more to life. And so once we had those two, like the kind of core, knowing that both of them are all so perfectly kind of toe the line between like silly and sincere, which the show like lives and dies on that kind of those tonal shifts. The rest of the casting process kind of became easier because like they kind of set that tone, and then with me and Ben, we also like that was the number one thing we wanted to like make sure we hit, is that kind of that undercutting the heavy drama with comedy and vice versa. And so I mean, Nick Offerman went on a hike with Ben, and Ben pitched it to him, and then Nick read it all and was like, yeah, I want to do it, because it's his character takes some wild turns in the whole show too. Skylar, he's like every director wants to work with Skylar, because he's one of the best, and then Gabby was in this movie La Camarista that was just like the writers didn't talk a lot about, and so she was a no-brainer there. Luis Rada Mendez, you guys talked to him, he's just one of the most charming people on the planet, and I've been a fan of his work. And then Nina we had a lot of auditions for Violet, and I remember like in the very first round, like her tape just stood out, like, and then it wasn't like necessarily like a normal like callback process as much as like Ben and I would just like have long conversations with the potential cast, and it was just, I just felt like I was like talking to Violet at that point, which is just perfect. So yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.